Level 1. Bloody Mary. The Bloody Mary legend is one of the most spine-chilling and widespread urban legends that has terrified kids and teens for generations, telling the story of a vengeful spirit who appears in mirrors when her name is chanted in the darkness. According to the most common version of this creepy tale, if you go into a bathroom alone at night, turn off all the lights so it's completely dark, look into the mirror and say, "Bloody Mary," 3 times. Some versions say 5 or 13 times. The ghost of a woman will suddenly appear in the reflection behind you, with a blood-covered face, wild hair, and burning eyes filled with rage. The legend says that Mary was either a witch who was executed centuries ago, a woman who died violently in front of a mirror, or sometimes Queen Mary I of England, who was nicknamed Bloody Mary for killing hundreds of people. And now her angry spirit is trapped in mirrors, waiting to take revenge on anyone brave or foolish enough to summon her. Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster, affectionately nicknamed Nessie, is perhaps the world's most famous lake monster and has captured imaginations for nearly a century, with tantalizing stories of a mysterious giant creature lurking in the dark, deep waters of Scotland's Loch Ness. According to countless eyewitness accounts dating back to the 1930s, this elusive beast is described as an enormous serpentine creature with a long neck, small head, and humped back that occasionally surfaces from the murky depths, creating ripples and waves as it glides through the water before disappearing back into the mysterious depths of the 750-foot-deep lake. The legend exploded into worldwide fame in 1934 when a London doctor named Robert Wilson published the iconic surgeon's photograph showing what appeared to be a dinosaur-like neck and head emerging from the loch's surface. Though this photo was later revealed to be an elaborate hoax involving a toy submarine and a sculpted head, but not before it sparked decades of monster hunting expeditions and scientific investigations. Believers suggest that Nessie could be a surviving plesiosaur from prehistoric times, a giant eel, an unknown species of marine reptile, or some other undiscovered creature that has managed to live undetected in the loch's vast underwater caves and channels that connect to the North Sea. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is America's most legendary cryptid and has become an enduring symbol of wilderness mystery. Described as a massive, ape-like creature standing 7 to 10 feet tall, covered in thick brown or black hair, with enormous feet that leave mysterious tracks in remote forests across the Pacific Northwest and beyond. The modern Bigfoot legend exploded into popular culture in 1967, when Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin filmed what they claimed was the creature walking through the forests of Northern California, showing a large, muscular, human-like figure with long arms, broad shoulders, and a distinctive swaying gait, though skeptics have spent decades arguing whether this famous footage shows a real unknown species or simply a person in an elaborate costume. The Vanishing Hitchhiker, telling the haunting tale of a mysterious traveler who appears on lonely roads asking for a ride, only to mysteriously disappear from the car before reaching their destination, leaving behind only puzzling clues that suggest they may have been dead all along. The classic version of this spine-chilling story typically begins with a driver traveling alone on a dark, deserted highway late at night when they spot a figure standing by the roadside with their thumb extended, usually described as a young woman in a white dress, an elderly man in old-fashioned clothes, or sometimes a soldier in military uniform who appears sad, lost, or urgently in need of help. The kind-hearted driver pulls over and invites the hitchhiker into their car, and during the ride, the mysterious passenger often shares personal details about their life, gives directions to a specific address, talks about needing to get home to see family members, or sometimes warns the driver about dangerous curves, accidents, or bad weather ahead on the road. When the driver reaches the destination or looks back to continue the conversation, they discover to their shock and horror that the hitchhiker has completely vanished from the car without a trace. Level 2. Roku-kubi. The Roku-kubi is a strange and haunting figure from Japanese folklore, often told in ghost stories to warn people about hidden dangers. By day, she appears as an ordinary woman, gentle, friendly, and living like everyone else. But when night falls and the world grows quiet, her true curse is revealed. Her neck stretches longer and longer, sometimes twisting like a serpent, until her head can float across the room while her body lies motionless, almost like an empty shell. In some tales, Roku-kubi are dangerous creatures who use their long necks to spy on neighbors, scare travelers, or even drink the life energy of those who sleep nearby. In other versions, they are simply unlucky women cursed by fate, unaware of their nightly transformation and filled with sadness when the truth is revealed. One well-known story tells of a traveling monk who stayed in a lonely inn. At night, he pretended to sleep and saw the innkeeper's wife's neck stretch out and her head drift close to him, whispering in a ghostly voice. Terrified but strong in spirit, he prayed loudly, forcing the woman's head to return to her body, and in the morning, she remembered nothing of the night's events. Serbian dancing lady. The Serbian dancing lady is a modern urban legend that has spread widely on the internet and in local rumors, often told as a chilling story of mystery and fear. People claim that late at night on empty streets in Serbia, a woman dressed in old-fashioned clothing has been seen dancing alone, moving strangely with sudden, sharp gestures that look both unnatural and disturbing, and when passers-by notice her, she is said to stop and stare at them with a threatening look, sometimes even chasing those who try to get too close. Videos have appeared online showing a woman in the dark, swaying and spinning under dim streetlights, which many believe to be proof, while others argue they are hoaxes made to scare viewers. Yet the legend continues to grow as people share their own stories of hearing strange music, seeing a woman twirling in deserted places, and feeling an eerie sense of danger. Humans can lick too. The Humans Can Lick Too story is a creepy urban legend often told at sleepovers and campfires, and it usually begins with a young girl left home alone at night while her parents are away. To comfort herself, she lets her loyal dog sleep beside her bed, and whenever she feels scared, she reaches down and feels the dog lick her hand, which reassures her that she is safe. But during the night, she hears strange noises, like dripping water or footsteps in the house. And every time she grows nervous, she simply puts her hand down again, feeling the dog's warm tongue, until the morning comes when she discovers something horrifying. The dog is dead, lying somewhere else in the house. And written on the wall in blood are the chilling words, "Humans can lick too." This legend is popular because it plays on the fear of false security. The idea that the comfort we trust the most could actually be hiding danger. And it has been retold in many versions across books, scary story collections, and online creepypasta, often leaving listeners with the eerie thought that not every reassuring touch in the dark can be trusted. Krampus. The Krampus is a frightening figure from Alpine folklore, especially in Austria, Germany, and nearby regions. Known as the dark companion of Saint Nicholas, and while Saint Nicholas rewards good children with gifts, Krampus punishes the bad ones. Described as a horned half-goat and half-demon creature with shaggy black hair, sharp fangs, and long curling tongue, he carries chains, bells, and sometimes a bundle of sticks called rootin, used to whip misbehaving children, and in some stories he stuffs the truly wicked into his sack to drag them away to his lair. The legend is believed to be very old, with roots in pagan traditions, before being blended into Christian celebrations, and he became most famous through the tradition of Krampusnacht, Krampus Night, on December 5th. Men in Black. The Men in Black are one of the most famous urban legends in modern folklore, often described as mysterious, shadowy men who appear after someone has witnessed a UFO or experienced something strange, and their purpose is said to be silencing people, covering up the truth, and protecting secrets about aliens. They are usually reported as wearing black suits, black hats, and dark sunglasses, driving plain black cars, and speaking in a strange, robotic, or unnatural way, as if they are not fully human. Witnesses often claim the men in black show up unexpectedly at their homes or workplaces, knowing personal details that they should not possibly know, and warning or threatening them not to share what they have seen. Some stories describe them as government agents, while others believe they are aliens themselves or otherworldly beings in disguise. Level 3 Melon Heads. The melon heads are one of America's creepiest and strangest urban legends. Stories about them have been told for decades in several states, especially in Ohio, Michigan, and Connecticut. According to the legend, the melon heads are small, human-like creatures with large, swollen heads, sharp teeth, and glowing eyes. They are said to live deep in forests, hidden in abandoned houses, or wandering through backcountry roads at night. The origin of the melon heads depends on where the story is told. In Ohio, the legend says they were once children who lived in an asylum or orphanage. The doctors there supposedly did cruel experiments on them, which caused their heads to grow abnormally large. Some versions say the asylum eventually burned down, and the children escaped into the woods, where they grew wild and became violent. Tenome in Japanese folklore. There is a strange and frightening creature known as the tenome. The name means eyes on the hands, and that is exactly what makes this being so terrifying. Instead of having eyes on its face, the tenome's empty eye sockets are blank, while its eyes are on the palms of its hands. Imagine a pale, ghostly figure wandering at night, holding out its hands to see the world. That is the tenome. The story goes back to ancient Japan. One legend says the tenome was once a blind man who was beaten and killed by a robber. As he died, he wished he could see the face of his attacker. When he returned as a spirit, his wish twisted into a curse. His eyes grew on his hands, not on his face. Now he roves the night as a hungry monster. The tenome is said to hunt humans. It creeps silently in dark places, especially graveyards and lonely roads. Using its hands like lanterns, it searches for living beings. When it finds a victim, the creature attacks and drinks their life energy, leaving the body behind. Level 4. The Okiku Doll. The Okiku Doll is a chilling legend from Japan, often told as one of the country's most famous ghost stories. The tale begins in 1918, when a young boy named Eikichi Suzuki bought a doll for his little sister, Okiku. The doll was about 40 centimeters tall, with black hair cut in a traditional style and dressed in a beautiful kimono. Okiku loved the doll deeply. She carried it everywhere, played with it every day, and even slept with it at night. The doll became her closest friend. But sadly, only a year later, the young girl died from a sudden illness. Her family was devastated. To remember her, they placed the doll on a household altar in her honor. It was then that strange things began to happen. The family noticed that the doll's jet black hair, which had once been cut short, was slowly growing longer. At first, they thought it was their imagination, but soon the hair reached the doll's shoulders, then down to its waist. No matter how many times it was trimmed, the hair grew back again. Believing the spirit of Okiku had entered the doll, the family treated it with respect and care. Word spread about the strange doll, and eventually it was given to Manenji Temple in Hokkaido, where it remains to this day. Black-eyed children. The black-eyed children are one of the creepiest modern urban legends. Stories about them started appearing in the 1990s, but since then, people all over the world claim to have seen these strange beings. The descriptions are always similar. They look like ordinary kids, usually between 6 and 16 years old, but with pale skin, strange old-fashioned clothing, and most disturbing of all, completely black eyes, with no whites or pupils at all. Encounters usually happen at night. Witnesses often say the children appear at their door, asking to be led inside. Sometimes they ask to use the phone, sometimes for a ride home, and sometimes they just stand there silently. At first, the children seem polite, but people who meet them describe feeling an overwhelming sense of fear. Their voices sound strange, their behavior feels unnatural, and when the witness finally notices the jet black eyes, the terror becomes unbearable. What makes the stories even scarier is the way the children behave. They never force their way in. Instead, they insist on being invited. They knock, wait, and calmly repeat their request. Please let us in. If denied, they often grow angry or simply vanish. Level 5 Kuchisake-onna. Kuchisake-onna, also called the slit-mouthed woman, is one of Japan's most famous and frightening urban legends. Her story is often told to warn children and travelers about walking alone at night. According to the legend, Kuchisake-onna was once a beautiful woman who was either the unfaithful wife of a samurai or the victim of a jealous lover. In a fit of rage, her mouth was slit open from ear to ear with a blade. She died horribly, but her spirit returned, filled with anger and pain. Now she wanders the streets of Japan, wearing a long coat and a surgical mask to hide her terrifying face. People say that late at night, if you are walking alone, Kuchisake-onna may appear and stop you. She will ask in a soft voice, "Am I pretty?" If you answer no, she kills you instantly with her scissors or knife. If you answer yes, she removes her mask, revealing her horrifying bloody grin, and asks again, "Even now?" If you scream or say no, she kills you. If you say yes, in some versions she lets you go. Walking Sam. Walking Sam is a chilling urban legend from South Dakota, especially around the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. He is described as a tall, thin shadow figure, almost 7 feet high, who walks silently at night. His arms are said to be so long they nearly touch the ground, and sometimes people claim to see ropes or nooses hanging from them, symbols of death. The story says Walking Sam appears to young people who are alone and sad. He whispers dark thoughts into their minds, trying to convince them that life is not worth living. Some who see him say he makes them feel hopeless, as if he steals their happiness and replaces it with despair. Walking Sam has become connected to real-life tragedies, especially among Native youth, where high suicide rates have been a heartbreaking problem. Many believe Walking Sam is more than just a ghost. Some say he is a spirit born from pain, loneliness, and grief, feeding on the sadness of others. Others think he is a warning figure, created to scare young people into being careful, staying close to family, and not giving in to despair. In either case, his legend is heavy with fear and sadness. What makes the tale scarier is that people report seeing him standing on lonely roads, near forests, or in dark corners at night. Slender Man. Slender Man is one of the most famous scary figures of the internet age. Unlike old legends, his story began online in 2009 when a photo contest asked people to make normal pictures look strange and creepy. Someone edited photos of children playing outside and added a tall, faceless man in a black suit standing in the background. He was called Slender Man. Even though he started as fiction, his image spread quickly across websites, videos, and forums, and soon he became a full legend of his own. Slender Man is described as an unnaturally tall and thin man, with no face, no eyes, no mouth, and long arms that can stretch like tentacles. He wears a dark suit and tie, which makes him look almost human, but not quite. People say he hides in forests, parks, or abandoned places, silently watching his victims. Children and teenagers are his favorite targets. Some stories say he lures them away, making them disappear forever. Others say he can control minds, planting strange thoughts or even forcing people to hurt others. One of the scariest things about Slender Man is that he never runs or chases. Instead, he just appears, closer each time you look. Witnesses describe a growing feeling of dread when he's near, like the air gets heavy and escape is impossible. Level 6, El Silbón, which means the Whistler, is a terrifying ghost story from Venezuela and Colombia. People say he is the restless spirit of a young man who committed a terrible crime long ago. According to legend, the boy killed his own father in a fit of anger. As punishment, his grandfather tied him up, whipped him, and set dogs on him. The boy died, but his spirit never found peace. Instead, he wanders the land, cursed to carry the bones of his father inside a sack forever. El Silbón is described as a tall, thin figure with long arms, sometimes so tall that he towers over trees. He roams the countryside at night, dragging his heavy bag of bones and letting out a chilling whistle. His whistle is the most frightening part of the story. It changes in a strange way. If you hear it close, that means he is far away. But if you hear it faint and far in the distance, it means he is standing right behind you, ready to strike. This trick makes people feel safe at first, only to realize too late that death is near. People believe El Silbón appears to drunk men or unfaithful husbands walking alone at night. He punishes them by breaking their bones or even sucking out their souls. The Red Room. It is not about a physical place, but about a mysterious pop-up window that appears while someone is online. At first, it looks simple, just a red background with black Japanese writing. The words ask a terrifying question. Do you like the Red Room? If you try to close the window, it keeps coming back. No matter what you click, you cannot escape. People say that once you see this window, you have already been marked. The legend says your computer becomes cursed, and soon after, you will die in a violent way. According to the story, the Red Room pop-up is connected to a ghostly force or a vengeful spirit. Victims who see it are said to be found dead in their homes, their walls painted red with their own blood. In some versions, the cursed program even lists the names of past victims who tried to escape it. Once your name is on the list, there is no way out. The legend grew popular in Japan in the early 2000s, spreading across forums and horror websites. It became even more famous after people linked it to a real-life crime, claiming the murderer had been obsessed with the Red Room legend. This connection made the story feel even more real, blurring the line between internet myth and true horror. Level 7, La Llorona. La Llorona, which means the weeping woman, is one of the most famous urban legend in Latin America. Her tale has been told for hundreds of years, passed down from parents to children, as both a warning and a chilling bedtime story. The legend says La Llorona was once a beautiful woman who fell in love with a wealthy man. Together they had children, but the man grew cold and distant. Some stories say he left her for another woman. In her grief and anger, La Llorona did the unthinkable. She drowned her children in a river. The moment she realized what she had done, she was filled with horror and despair. She ran along the riverbanks, crying out for her children, but it was too late. Overcome by sorrow, she drowned herself as well. Because of her crime, her spirit could not rest. She was cursed to wander forever, dressed in a long white gown, her face hidden by her hair or by a veil, weeping for the children she lost. Her ghostly wails echo through the night, "Ay mis hijos," which means, "Oh my children." Anyone who hears her cries is filled with fear. La Llorona is said to appear near rivers, lakes, or streams.